we're going to predict what this piece of text is going to be about. So it's called Discovering the Terracotta Warriors. Okay, use the title and what we already know. Who can predict what we might read about?
Yep. The way he lived his life.
It'll be about his enemies and like the people who hated him the most.
Okay. Yep. Rebecca.
People who tried to kill him and that he might have went somewhere else.
Okay, because we know that the Terracotta Warriors protected him and his tomb. So we know that he's died. So we're going to find out about that, you think? Okay. Anyone else got a different prediction? Were there any words in there that you weren't sure of, or any sentences that just you weren't quite sure why they were there or what they meant? Hayley.
Musician or something.
Musician. Okay. Does anyone know what a musician is?
It's a person who plays an instrument.
Does that make sense? Okay. Anyone else got another word that they'd like to clarify? Nathan.
The Ziyang thing.
The Ziyang, I think. Okay. How would we find out what that is? Let's read just a little bit before it. It says, by taking the emperor back to Ziyang in his carriage. What do you think that might be? Bonnie?
A place.
A place, yeah. Okay, so even though we're not quite sure how to say it, the words around us tell us it's a place. Okay, great. Any other words that we wanted to clarify?
Alexa.
Elixir, okay. Now notice that it's in bold. There's a place in this book that we can go to find out what that is. What is it?
The glossary.
Yeah, the glossary. Okay, so it's at the start of this chapter. So just flick back a couple of pages and look up elixir. Can you read it out, Bonnie?
A medicine believed to prolong life.
So it was a medicine that they took in the hope that they would live longer. Does that make sense? Why do you think he was taking the elixir? Okay, we're going to move into question generating. Now remember, we've got 3 levels of questions. So our first level is the literal. Right there on the page, you can find the answer to the question by looking back at the text. Then we've got our inferential. Now this is where you have to use what you know already, and you guys know quite a bit. Plus, you can use what's written down and make the connections between it. But it doesn't tell you exactly what the answer is. And then the third level, the evaluative level, where you have to basically think on your own. So you have to use all the things that you know and make a judgment. Okay, and you're all very good about having an opinion and backing it up. Okay, so that's that level, and that's where we get to debate with each other. Okay, Caitlin.
How did they cover up his death?
Okay, how do they cover up his death? Does anyone have a response to that one?
They put a load of fish on it and it got rid of the decaying emperor smell.
Okay, covered up the smell, didn't it? Okay, great. Now that was a literal level question. Okay guys, the question starts, why does? Have a look at the text. Think of a question that begins, why does?
Well, I've got, why does Shi Huangdi move around his palace?
Okay, why does Shi Huangdi move around the palace? Who's got an answer to that? Okay, can you give us the answer?
Well, he moved around because he was too afraid of being killed by people.
Mm-hmm. So that was an inferential question. So we had to go back to the text and we had to read between the lines. We had to think about what we already know about ancient China, and we had to use what was here in the text as well. But it didn't tell us exactly the answer, did it? We had to think on our own. Okay? Great answer. So let's have a go at some evaluative questions. My question for you is, we've already talked about how they covered up the emperor's death by using the fish and making the smell. We've talked about why they did that. What I want to know now is, why was it so important that the people didn't know that Shi Huangdi had died?
Because people might start wars and that'd be bad.
Okay, so fighting over the land. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's move on to summarising. Would anyone like to summarise what we've just read?
Well, basically what we just read was how he died and how they covered up his death. And in 1974, how they found something amazing with his tomb.